to talk about Kungfu tea. Kungfu, to a lot of people, think about the crouching tiger, hidden dragon, stuff. Actually, Kungfu tea is not a tea, but a way of making tea. Kungfu actually suggests that it's a lot of work. And essentially what it's trying to say is there are a lot of steps that is involved in doing Kung Fu tea. Now, from our own learning, we have found that there are Kung Fu tea that is very ceremonial. There are every step is very arty and they have names for every steps versus there are other ways to do it that is a lot more casual, that is a lot more everyday. That's what we are going to show you today, because we do actually feel that you can just put in a few more steps, more or less like the way Kung Fu tea was made, but you can still find it reasonable to do as a day-to-day thing. And I particularly love this little ritual after dinner when you sit down, winding down with your loved ones and you just have a little sip of good tea, not a lot of it, just a little sip to just enjoy life and just enjoy good conversation, just wind down slowly. So Kung Fu tea typically when it's done is not a lot of talking. So you might find me actually kind of being a bit quieter this time in this video. But of course, there is no reason to just, enjoy it and enjoy a bit of conversation throughout. It's the Chinese Kung Fu tea ceremony is less regimented comparing to the Japanese style. So yes, you can serve it with a smile. That's quite all right. So with all that, we're going to talk about how we're going to do it today. It is basically to start with Kung Fu tea. There are a few things that ideally you want to have. Obviously, there's a teapot, and typically it's served in very small teapot like this one. It's made of a particular kind of clay called zisa or purple clay. And purple clay is it's full of minerals, and what people are saying that because it's unglazed, it's porous, when you brew tea after year, you brew after brew, all the good flavors from the tea liquid also seep into the teapot. So after a while, even if you just pour hot water in it and just drink it, you'll find it tasting quite amazingly tea-like. So that's one of the reasons why people actually store these teapots, almost like a collectible, for prosperity. Little cups to go with it. These are really small. They're about 20 to 30 mils usually. Of course, you've got tea leaves. Tea leaves, typically, the ones that they serve with Kung Fu tea would be usually a dark oolong, such as Tai Hong Po or Shui Xin. Tikuan, the light one or the heavier fermented ones are cool. Pu-erh, it's fine too. And they're sort of the typical ones, not so much green tea really. It's more of the oolong and pu-erh range. And also the tea purists will say that really you want to use one teapot per kind of tea. In the long run, as we talked about, the tea flavor will go into the teapot. So if you have mixed flavor from different tea, it's just not as ideal. But it's really obviously up to you. I mean, if all you want is just storing one teapot for whatever reason, then yeah, I mean, you can do that, and really depends on how often you make the tea in the teapot as well. Another thing that we would suggest you to look at is something similar to what we have here. This is our tea chest. It's a bamboo tea chest that has actually got a rack on it, and this box is waterproof. So when we got this made, we have two purposes. This is a gift box as well as a tea tray, if you will, to make Kung Fu tea. The reason for that is once we get going, you will see that there are quite a lot of steps that involve overpouring the teapot, the overpouring the water onto the pot. There's a bit of rinsing and so on. So yeah, you want something that can contain that water during this period of time when you were doing this. You'll find we have got a little milk juggy thing looking here. This is actually a tea jug. And what happens is after you have made the tea, rather than pour it straight on there, you actually pour it in here. The reason for that is once you pour this into the tea jug, you actually get an even brew when you serve it. So it's not like your first cup is going to be quite light and your last cup is going to be really strong. So this is typically used in a Kungfu tea environment as well. Something else that I'm going to touch on before we really get going is also sometimes you may find tall cups, like tall straight cups that goes with these little guys, and they're usually presented as a pair. That is a smelling cup. We're not doing that today, but you certainly can. So that one is not actually for drinking. It's after you pour the tea liquid in that, and then you put it onto this cup. So this is your drinking cup. But what happens is because the tea has gone through that smelling cup, the cup has actually retained the smell. So that is purely for enjoyment of enveloping your senses with that flavor, that aroma, I should say, aroma, because you're actually smelling it. But we're not doing that today, so we're going pretty cash day. Yes, this is the preparation, if you will, for a Kungfu tea. And so in the next video we are going to show you is the actual doing of it.